Ladies, let me tell you something right now. Men are not as slick as they think they are. See, a man might try to play it cool, act like he's unfazed, keep his mouth shut, and pretend you don't matter. But when he's secretly attracted to you, when you've caught his attention in a way he can't shake, his actions will always betray him, always. That's why we're here today, because too many of you have been confused, sitting up late at night, replaying every text, every look, every silence, trying to figure out, does he even care? Does he even notice me? Am I imagining this? And I'm here to tell you, stop doubting your intuition. Stop gaslighting yourself. If you feel something, it's because he's showing it, whether he says it or not. Men are creatures of pattern. Their words may lie, but their behavior never does. And if you learn to read the signs, if you learn to pay attention to what's underneath the surface, you'll start to see exactly who's drawn to you, who's watching you, who's bothered when you're gone. Attraction has a language, and it doesn't always speak with words. It speaks through silence, through energy, through presence. So today, I'm going to break it all the way down. 8 powerful signs that reveal when a man is secretly attracted to you. Not the surface level stuff, not the games, not the wishy-washy signals, but the real truth about what happens when a man's heart and mind are tangled up in you. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly what to look for, exactly how to read between the lines, and exactly how to take your power back. Because once you see the signs, you'll never question your worth again. His silence is never silence, ladies. Let me break this down for you straight. A man's silence is never silence. You see, women often mistake a man's quietness as disinterest, as rejection, as if he's shutting the door on you. But truth be told, silence has layers. When a man is secretly attracted to you, that silence is him fighting his own battles, his own pride, his own fear of looking weak in front of you. He wants to speak, but the words don't line up. He wants to act, but his ego holds him back. That's why you'll catch him staring too long and then suddenly pretending to look at something else. That's why he lingers in your space without saying much. That's why his body language screams what his mouth won't admit. His silence is not absence, it's evidence. Think about it. How many times have you walked into a room and felt his eyes on you only for him to quickly look away when you turned? That's not just silence. That's energy speaking louder than sound. Silence is a language all by itself. It's the stutter before a confession, the pause before a breakthrough. Men are not always skilled at voicing their emotions, but they betray themselves in their stillness. You'll see it in the way he fidgets, the way he suddenly straightens up when you enter, the way he laughs a little too hard at things you say. His silence is the noise of attraction he doesn't yet know how to translate. But here's the powerful part. Ladies, what you do with his silence matters more than his silence itself. Too many women rush to fill the quiet. You text first. You explain yourself. You soften the moment because you think his lack of words means he's pulling away. Let me tell you something. Never chase to fill a silence that was never yours to own. Silence is a test. If he's interested, he'll break it. If he values you, he'll step up. If he can't, then let the quiet expose him. Don't rob him of the weight of that moment. Silence is also your superpower. When you go quiet, you hold the mirror up to him. Men are hunters by nature. And when you stop moving, stop explaining, stop overextending, it rattles them. A man who's attracted but too afraid to admit it will start to feel that distance. Your silence triggers his urgency. It forces him to decide. Will he make his move or will he lose his chance? That's why you must learn to let silence work for you, not against you. I've seen women destroy their peace chasing explanations. Why hasn't he called? Why didn't he text back? Why did he just sit there and say nothing? Baby, his silence is speaking volumes. You just got to stop interpreting it as rejection. Sometimes his silence is saying, I don't know how to love you the right way yet. Sometimes it's saying, I'm intimidated by the way you shine. Sometimes it's saying, I'm fighting a war with my own feelings. But none of that means you need to step out of your worth to help him figure it out. Here's the truth. A man who is secretly drawn to you cannot sit comfortably in silence forever. It leaks out. It shows in the tension of his jaw, the way his eyes soften when you laugh, the way he lingers even when he's got no reason to. His silence is a cover-up, but baby, it's never empty. Don't underestimate it, so when you find yourself in that quiet, don't panic, don't lower your crown, sit in it, own it, let it do the work for you. Because a woman who masters silence has already mastered power. And when he finally speaks, when he finally steps forward, you'll know it wasn't because you dragged the words out of him. It was because your presence, your stillness, your strength pulled the truth right out of his chest. He studies you without you knowing. Ladies, let me tell you something real. When a man is secretly attracted to you, he becomes a student of your life. He studies you without you ever handing him a textbook. You think he's not paying attention, but the truth is he's noticing everything. He might sit there looking cool, looking unbothered, but his mind is working overtime. He's replaying the way you laughed at a joke, the way you touched your hair when you were nervous, the color of the dress you wore last Tuesday. That man may not always speak it out loud, but he's taking mental notes like his life depends on it. Now here's the thing, men are not naturally wired to study every little detail. Most men don't even remember what they ate for breakfast 2 days ago. But when a man is drawn to you, something shifts. Suddenly he remembers things you forgot you even said. He'll bring up a story you told in passing, something you thought went in one ear and out the other. You might be talking about how much you like a certain coffee, and weeks later he'll casually show up with that exact brand. That's not coincidence, baby. That's him showing you that you live rent-free in his mind. Think back, have you ever had a man mention a detail you barely recall sharing? That's because he locked it away. He studies not just what you say, but how you say it. He pays attention to little cracks in your voice when you talk about something painful. He notices the spark in your eyes when you talk about your dreams. He may not comment in the moment, but he's cataloging it. Attraction makes men focus in ways they normally don't. And when it's real, you'll feel it in the way he circles back to things you thought he'd never catch. But here's where the danger lies. Don't confuse his studying with true effort. Because yes, a man can notice everything about you, but the question is, does he do anything with that knowledge? Does he use it to love you better, or does he just sit with it like it's a secret hobby? You see, ladies, attention is not the same as action. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself flattered by the fact that he remembers your favorite song, but frustrated that he still won't commit. At the same time, don't underestimate the power of being observed. A man who studies you is a man who's invested on some level. He's drawn to your energy, your presence, your essence. That's why he notices when you walk into the room and suddenly straighten your posture. Why he sees when you're quieter than usual. Why he asks you, okay? Even when you've said nothing. He can sense your energy shift because he's been tuned in. And let me tell you something powerful. You don't have to perform for this. You don't have to dress a certain way, act a certain way, or play a role. When a man is secretly attracted to you, he studies you as you are. He's intrigued by your natural state. The things you consider small, your smile when you're looking down at your phone, the way you hum when you're cleaning, the way you sip your drink, those are the things that captivate him. You're not even trying, but he's hooked. This is why it's so important to stand strong in your authenticity. Because when a man is secretly attracted, he's not just watching the surface, he's reading the layers. And if you're hiding yourself, pretending to be someone you're not, then he's studying a mask, not the real you. The right man, the one who's truly drawn to you, will study the parts you don't flaunt, the parts you don't show on purpose. That's where the real connection lies. But let me flip this on you. Sometimes a man studies you in silence because he's unsure if he measures up. His observation is his way of staying close without risking rejection. That's why you might feel his presence, see his attention, but not hear his words. He's learning you like a song he's too scared to sing out loud. And that can be frustrating because as women, you crave clarity, you crave action, you crave a man who will step up. But don't mistake his hesitation as indifference. Sometimes it's admiration holding him back. Yet, ladies, let me make this plain: admiration without movement is not enough. You are not a painting to be stared at. You are not an exhibit to be studied. You are a woman worthy of pursuit, of commitment, of clarity. So while it's flattering that he notices every detail, the real test is whether he has the courage to act on what he knows. So when you catch him remembering your words, when you notice him watching the way you carry yourself, when you realize he's piecing you together like a puzzle, take it as confirmation. He's drawn to you. But never let that be the end of the story. Because attraction without intention is just curiosity. And you, my sister, deserve more than curiosity. You deserve certainty. That's the difference between a man who studies you and a man who claims you. One gathers information, the other takes action. And until he crosses that line, remember this: his studying may reveal his feelings, but your standards reveal your worth. He finds reasons to be around you. Ladies, let me put it straight. When a man is secretly attracted to you, he will always find a reason to be around you. A man who wants you can't help himself. He will rearrange his schedule. He will adjust his path. He will coincidentally show up in places he knows you'll be. Don't let him fool you with that casual, "Oh, I just happened to be here." No, baby, he mapped that route out in his mind long before he stepped out the door. Men are hunters by nature. And when a man is drawn to you, being in your orbit is his way of staying connected. Even if he doesn't yet have the courage to speak the full truth, you'll see it in little ways. He'll pop up at events you didn't even know he cared about. He'll suddenly be interested in the gym you go to, or the coffee shop you frequent, or the friend group you hang with. He'll text you about something random. "Hey, did you watch that show?" As if he couldn't have survived the day without checking in. He may not say, "I miss you," but his presence says it for him. He is drawn like a magnet, and he uses excuses to justify why he's there. Now listen carefully. There's a big difference between a man who shows up because he wants to see you and a man who shows up because he's committed to building with you. Attraction makes him appear, intention makes him stay. A man who is only orbiting you will circle your world, drop crumbs of attention, and then vanish when you need clarity. But a man who is serious will not only show up, he'll plan himself. He won't just happen to be there. He'll tell you he came because he wanted to. But either way, remember this: men don't waste energy on women they feel nothing for. If he keeps showing up, it's not random. His attraction is pulling him in, and his actions are betraying his silence. Even if he plays it cool, even if he acts unbothered, his consistency in showing up reveals the truth. Because let me tell you something, effort exposes feelings. Ladies, don't ever ignore the patterns. A man's presence is a signal. If he keeps finding reasons to be around you, understand that he's drawn to your energy, your light, your spirit. He's curious, he's invested, he's paying attention. But don't you dare confuse that with him being ready for the level of woman you are. Showing up is easy. Building something real requires courage, clarity, and commitment. So yes, take note of the way he finds reasons to orbit your world, because that attraction is undeniable. But always keep your standard high, because at the end of the day, you don't just need a man who circles around you. You need a man who claims his place beside you. Until then, remember, his presence might reveal his feelings, but your power decides whether he earns a permanent seat at your table. His energy shifts when you pull away, ladies. Listen to me closely. Nothing shakes a man more than when a woman he's secretly attracted to pulls away. That shift you feel in his energy when you stop calling, when you stop texting, when you stop over-explaining yourself, It's real. Men thrive on the attention of a woman they desire, and when you suddenly take that away, it rattles their very core. A man who's been comfortable with your presence, with your energy pouring into him every day, suddenly feels the emptiness when it's gone. You've got to understand something. Your attention is power. Every good morning text, every call to check in, every moment you spent making sure he was okay, that was feeding him. He may not have acknowledged it, but he was fueled by it. The second you stop, his energy changes. That man who seemed relaxed suddenly gets restless. That man who acted like he didn't care suddenly finds reasons to reach out. That man who thought he had you in his pocket starts realizing you were never his possession in the first place. And let me be real with you, this shift isn't just about missing your voice, it's about him feeling the weight of losing access. When a woman detaches, when she pulls her light back, a man has no choice but to confront what she truly meant to him. Silence becomes louder than words. Absence becomes heavier than presence. He starts wondering, did I lose her? Is she done with me? Has she moved on? That uncertainty eats at him. Now, here's the beauty in it. You don't have to do a single thing extra. You don't need to post subliminal messages on social media. You don't need to beg for his attention. Your silence is enough. Your absence speaks for itself. And the more he feels that space, the more his energy will shift. But I want to warn you, ladies, don't pull away as a trick. This isn't about games. This is about reclaiming your power, about protecting your peace, about putting yourself first. When you step back genuinely, when you stop pouring into someone who isn't pouring back, that's when the shift happens. Because men can sense authenticity. They know when you're bluffing and they know when you mean it. So watch closely when you pull away. Does he chase? Does he step up? Does he finally say what he's been holding back? Or does he fade out and reveal he was never really invested? Either way, you win, because pulling away exposes the truth. It separates the man who's drawn to your soul from the man who just enjoyed your attention. Never forget this. Your silence, your distance, your detachment. It is not weakness. It is your greatest strength. And when you master it, you'll see exactly who deserves your energy and who is only surviving on your generosity. That shift in his energy. That's proof that you matter more than he ever admitted. He tries to impress you without saying it. Ladies, let me break this down so you never miss it again. When a man is secretly attracted to you, he will try to impress you without ever opening his mouth to confess it. Men have egos, men of pride, and a lot of times they don't want to risk rejection by coming straight out with their feelings. But pay attention, because instead of saying it, they'll start showing it in ways that look casual on the surface, but are loud if you know what to look for. You'll see it in the way he suddenly talks a little louder when you're around, like he wants you to notice his presence. He'll drop details about his job, his achievements, his hustle, not because the whole room needs to know, but because you need to hear it. He'll position himself in conversations so you're close enough to catch him bragging without him making it obvious. That's attraction disguised as casual talk. He's selling you a piece of his value without directly saying, I want you to see me. Sometimes it's not even in words, it's in action. He'll go out of his way to help, to show capability. If you mention your car's making a noise, he suddenly knows a mechanic. If you're carrying groceries, he'll appear to lend a hand. If you're struggling with something, he'll find a way to fix it. That's a man's silent way of saying, I want you to see me as the one who can take care of you. Men love to feel useful, and when he's drawn to you, he'll try to prove it in subtle but consistent ways. You'll also notice it in how he carries himself. He may act nonchalant, but the second he knows you're in the room, something changes. He adjusts his shirt, straightens his posture, maybe even checks his reflection in his phone. That's not vanity, it's attraction. You shift the atmosphere for him, and he wants to make sure you see the best version of him. And here's the kicker. He won't admit any of this. He'll act like it's all coincidence. Like he didn't just flex his knowledge. Like he didn't just drop that story about the promotion. Like he didn't just pick that shirt because he knows it's the one you once complimented. But ladies, a man doesn't go out of his way for every woman. If he's doing it around you, it means you matter more than he's ready to admit. Now here's where you've got to be smart. Don't confuse performance with purpose. A man trying to impress you is one thing. A man consistently investing in you is another. Bragging is cheap. Posting his highlight reel on social media hoping you'll notice. That's easy. What matters is whether he follows through. Does he only flex when you're watching, or does he live those values when no one's looking? Because real attraction, the kind that leads to something meaningful, isn't about showing off. It's about showing up. Anybody can flash success, talk loud, and try to win your attention for a moment. But the man who truly wants you doesn't just want to impress you. He wants to protect, provide, and build with you. His actions will go beyond the surface. Ladies, here's the truth. You don't need to clap for every show he puts on. Don't hand out applause just because a man is trying hard to look valuable. Stand back, stay grounded, and watch. Because the ones who are serious won't just try to look good around you. They'll do good by you. So yes, take note when a man tries to impress you without saying it. See it for what it is. Proof that you affect him, that he notices you, that he's drawn to you. But remember, your standard isn't about being entertained. It's about being chosen. You don't need another man putting on a performance. You need a man whose quiet efforts match his loudest words. That's the difference between attraction and intention. He shows jealousy in small ways. Ladies, listen closely. Jealousy is one of the clearest giveaways when a man is secretly attracted to you. He may never say it out loud. He may never admit it with his chest, but his actions will betray him. A man who's drawn to you cannot stand the thought of another man having your attention, even if he hasn't stepped up to claim his place. His pride won't let him confess, but his energy shifts the moment competition enters the picture. And it's not always loud or dramatic. It shows up in small, subtle ways that you might overlook if you're not paying attention. Picture this. You're laughing a little too long at another man's joke. Watch him. He might not say anything, but his jaw tightens, his smile fades, his whole vibe shifts. Or maybe you're texting and smiling at your phone. Suddenly he wants to know, who's that? He might disguise it as casual curiosity, but don't be fooled. That's jealousy speaking in code. He feels threatened, and his instinct is to protect what he hasn't even admitted he wants. Sometimes it comes through humor. He'll crack a sarcastic joke about you hanging out with someone else. He'll make comments like, "Oh, so you got a new best friend now." He'll laugh it off, but underneath that laughter is a fear of losing access to you. Men use humor to mask their feelings, but those little digs, those little comments, they're not jokes, they're cracks in his armor. And then there's the protective jealousy. You mention another man showing you attention, and suddenly he's giving you warnings. Be careful with him. He doesn't seem like a good guy. On the surface, it sounds like concern, but deep down, it's possession. He doesn't like the idea of you belonging to anyone else. He may not have the courage to call you his, but the thought of another man trying to makes his blood boil. But here's where you have to be wise, ladies. Jealousy is a sign of attraction, yes, but it is not the same as love, and it is not the same as commitment. Don't get flattered by a man's jealous reaction if he still hasn't made his intentions clear. A man can be jealous without ever stepping up. He can want you all to himself while giving you nothing solid in return. That's not protection, that's possession. And you deserve more than that. Understand this, small signs of jealousy can reveal a man's hidden feelings, but they can also reveal his immaturity. If his jealousy turns controlling, if he tries to isolate you, if he punishes you for getting attention you didn't even ask for, that's not attraction worth entertaining. That's insecurity, and insecurity will drain you dry. Don't confuse a jealous look with proof of love. Love is secure. Love doesn't need to control. At the same time, don't dismiss the fact that jealousy exposes truth. A man who truly doesn't care won't flinch when other men come around. He won't notice, he won't react. So when you see those small changes, the way he grows tense, the way his questions become sharper, the way his energy dips when another man's name comes up, that's his heart slipping out from behind his pride. That's his attraction speaking before he can shut it down. But here's the key. Watch what he does after. Does he let his jealousy push him into action? Does he step up and finally claim his feelings? Or does he sit back, soak in silence, and expect you to figure it out? Because attraction is not enough if it doesn't lead to clarity. A man can show jealousy all day long, but if he never steps forward, then his feelings are just shadows. And you, queen, are not built to live in anyone's shadows. So yes, take note of the small jealousies. Recognize them as signs that he feels something deeper. But never let them be the reason you hold on. You don't need a man who simply gets jealous at the thought of losing you. You need a man who values you enough to never risk losing you in the first place. He remembers your pain, ladies. Let me tell you something powerful. When a man remembers your pain, that's when you know his feelings for you run deep. See, any man can remember your smile, your laugh, or the way you look when you're all dressed up. But it takes a different kind of man to hold on to the moments when you were vulnerable, broken, or hurting. It's in those moments that his true heart is revealed. Because if he carries your pain in his memory, it means he values more than just the highlight reel. He sees the whole of you. Think about this. You might have told him once, months ago, about something that broke your heart, a betrayal, a struggle, a disappointment that left scars on you. You may have brushed past it, thinking it was just a detail in a conversation. But later he brings it up, not to throw it in your face, not to use it against you, but to show you that he was listening, that he took it seriously, that he understands where your wounds are. That's not casual attention, that's investment. That's a man revealing that he's been carrying your pain with him like a silent promise not to add to it. He'll notice when something around you triggers that old hurt. Maybe you tense up in a crowd. Maybe you grow quiet at the mention of a certain name. Maybe you avoid certain places or subjects. And he doesn't just ignore it. He responds with gentleness. He shifts his tone, changes the subject, offers comfort without you even having to ask. Why? Because he's already logged that pain in his mind, and he never wants to see you crushed under it again. That kind of attention is not surface level. It's emotional awareness. And let me tell you, ladies, when a man remembers your pain, it also means he's seeing you as more than just temporary. He's studying you with the intention of being part of your healing, not just a bystander in your life. He wants to know where the cracks are, not so he can avoid them, but so he can pour strength into them. That's why his care feels different. That's why his words land deeper, because he's not talking to the mask you wear for the world. He's speaking to the woman behind it. But here's the other side. When a man remembers your pain, it's not always obvious. He may not come out and say, I remember when you told me this. Instead, it shows up in the way he treats you. He's patient when you're guarded. He doesn't push when you're hesitant. He gives you space when you need silence. He adjusts himself to the rhythm of your healing because deep down, he doesn't want to be another source of hurt in your story. Now let's be real. Many men forget the details. They remember your favorite color, but not the